Kyle's not here, so ding, we miss Kyle. Where is he? Australia? He'll be back later this week, I'm told. But for now, let's do a little believe it or not. While we were away for this 3-week hiatus that Nate and Peter and I very much enjoyed, we found out that the Dallas Cowboys will be the team featured on HBO Hard Knocks this season. Believe it or not, and Kim, we will start with you, and thank you for joining us this morning on GMFB. The Cowboys are the perfect team to be featured on Hard Knocks.
Absolutely, positively believe that. You know, just Dak Prescott returning makes them a worthwhile candidate for Hard Knocks. Then you think about Jerry and Stephen Jones, all of the changes that we presume Dan Quinn is making with a defense that underachieved a year ago and at times was a mess. And Dan Quinn, we have to believe, and I do believe, will go in and fix that. And there you see Micah Parsons, number 11, the rookie first-round pick of the Cowboys. But I think it's Dak that makes them so compelling because, guys, I think we look at Dak Prescott and say he instantly makes the Cowboys, at the very least, a contender in that division.
I agree. Yeah, and it's not just Dak for me. It's also the surrounding pieces. Ezekiel Elliott, I know he looks good and the training looks great from this offseason, but what type of running back is he going to be this year? We'll get a taste of that during Hard Knocks. The wide receivers, right? All the money that they're making, and young CeeDee Lamb who wants to get paid. What are they going to look like? That defense that was criticized so heavily last year. I mean, what is that going to look like? And also, they say everything's bigger in Texas, so those slow motion montages running while the sweat is dripping, it is going to be so dramatic. I'm feeling it. I feel like this is going to be one of the best montages ever. And also, Coach McCarthy, Schrags, you know, people are saying he could be on the hot seat.
Some people might be saying that this is all about Jerry Jones, and this is one of those deals where it's like if Hard Knocks could do Jerry every year, they would. And I think Jerry wasn't a hard, convincing, then if to twist his arm too much to do this. So I think it's perfect. I think it's post-Dak contracts that I couldn't have done last summer, where it's just, you know, everyone speaking in different languages about what all is really going down, and it's a contract negotiation, but using crazy metaphors. We have our quarterback, we've got everything, and they were bad last year. Cowboys were not a good team, and this is going to be one of those years where they have to prove it. And to your point, Nate, we'll see what Mike McCarthy's got, and we're going to see it every Tuesday night on HBO this August. Can't wait.
Can't wait either. At GMFB with your thoughts there. Let's move on to tight ends, shall we? We've got a lot of just shape-shifting going on among the positions. We've got former wide receiver Jordan Matthews joining Kelvin Benjamin, another big wide receiver, and Tim Tebow, of course, as these former position players that played different positions trying to fit into this mold and become tight ends in this current NFL. Different body shapes, you know, than we were used to seeing sort of in the past. So believe it or not, we are entering, Nate, a new era for tight ends in the NFL.
No, we're not. We've seen it before. I like to say it all the time. History repeats itself. I mean, you would say that if you're not a historian of the game, but if you're a historian of the game, you would know that Shannon Sharpe was one of those tight ends. And there was guys before him, but let's just stick with Shannon for a second. Shannon was a beast. 8-time Pro Bowl selection. 4-time first-team All-Pro, which means he's the absolute best in his position. We know he's a Super Bowl champion, but more importantly, when he retired, he was NFL all-time leader among tight ends in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving TDs. Not to mention, the dude was a freak of nature at his size. So when you see guys that are big, strong, and fast that look like wide receivers in tight ends' bodies, make sure you look back at Shannon Sharpe and tip your hat to him.
Yeah, we could go all the way back to Ozzie Newsome, who was doing this, to Kellen Winslow, but I'm going to go even more recent history. How can we look at like a Darren Waller and a Kyle Pitts and say we've never seen this before when Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez dominated the NFL for nearly...
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Gates highlights. Two guys who played college basketball at a high level. Of course, Gates was at Kent State. They went to the Final Four, or the Elite Eight, when he was in the NCAA tournament. Then goes to the Chargers and makes an immediate impact and is Phillip Rivers' #1 target his entire career. And then you get Tony Gonzalez, who was a football player and a basketball player at Cal, goes to the Chiefs, breaks all sorts of records, goes to the Falcons, breaks all sorts of records. I was texting with Tony. He's traveling around Europe right now. He's not exactly following the NFL as we speak, and I'm sure he's not watching Good Morning Football as he's in Barcelona enjoying the life out there. But I will tell you this. Anything Kyle Pitts does in Atlanta is going to be following in the footsteps of what this guy did before him. So to Nate's point, I don't want to trash the topic or say, hey, we've seen it all before, but I don't know. With Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez playing football at tight end, I don't think anything's too new or retransforming the position. I saw it all the last 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah, and to piggyback you guys, I covered Jeremy Shockey, 15 years ago or whatever it's been. And at the time, especially for the Giants, he seemed like a new age weapon for them to use. And ultimately injuries cost him dearly in his career. But I think about him, and guys, I'll say this about Giants this spring. I was surprised how much run Kelvin Benjamin got during mini camp and also during the OTAs. He certainly got a chance to prove to the Giants that he belongs on that roster. We'll see how it works out.
There we have it. Wow. So maybe we shouldn't have even asked that question. But can you agree, Schrager, it's sort of like a golden age of tight ends, like a reinvigorate. Like tight ends are so hot right now.
Yeah, they'll tell you that too. They did their tight end university down there, and Kittle and Kelsey and Waller, and of course now you add Pitts, and Hawkinson's going to tear the league up. We'll see. We'll see. I would like to see Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez and maybe Pitts and Hawkinson suit up for the American basketball team, for the men's team, because they're 0-2 right now in pre-Olympic trials. We could use their basketball there. We can't be losing to Australia. Okay, not when Kyle Brandt is Mr. Australia. We've got to beat Australia in basketball, and maybe Tony Gonzalez would have helped us last night.
It's so true. I met the Australian basketball team in California. That's a story for the commercial break.